So tonight I attended a do or die show at kind of a divey bar in West Chicago. And if you're not familiar with Do or Die, they are the group responsible for like the official anthem of Chicago, which is Do You Wanna Ride? So total banger. I'm like, what a fucking throwback. I have to see this show. And I decided that I was going to see it a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, all right, this is obviously going to be a predominantly black crowd, and I have a black card. I also will have to show out. I've had a black card for years. It was given to me by both of the black friends on my friends list. So, you know, I wanted to go with kind of like a Vanilla Ice was in a gangbang with all of the members from Boys to Men, and they conceived a son which grew up to be me, and we don't know who the father is, but also like fucking crisp. So I went with this gold and black sequin jacket and the fake golden diamond chains, and I also opted to wear a gold Gucci watch because, if I'm being honest, maybe I was looking for a little bit of trouble because, all I do is go to work and pay bills, and sometimes I need a little fucking rush. And maybe this was like my Ed Norton Fight Club moment where I just get my ass beat outside and I'm just kind of like relieved of stress somehow. But anyway, so I get to the show, walk in the door, and I thought the fucking record was gonna skip because it was even more hood than I thought. And, in an initial scan, I counted more people in wheelchairs than I counted white people. So that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm coming into here. And everyone is just like staring like, all right, what's up with this guy? We got to see how he moves, keep an eye on him. And I go right to the bar, and I'm ordering a drink, and immediately like this total butch lesbian comes up to me and she's like, oh my God, I love your jacket. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, now I got to be worried about this jacket. I don't know how I look. And, as I'm sitting there with my drink, I'm kind of, looking around the room to see who I think has or is maybe capable of committing a murder, just kind of keep these people in my line of view at times. And, there's probably 5 or 6 of them. So the show starts, and there's like all of these like opening artists that do like 2 songs, and after like 7 or 8 songs, the guy that I identified as the one most likely to commit a homicide comes up to me, and he's like, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, I'm the VP of a construction company. Why do you ask? And he's like, bro, you look fly as fuck. He's like, I thought you probably worked, for a record company. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, this is my boyhood dream, is to go out in an outfit that the thuggest, ruggest person in the fucking bar comes up and tells me that. And, that was kind of, what I needed out of this outfit, right? So I'm chopping it up with this guy for a minute, and I'm like, yo, if any of these women ask you, you can tell them I'm a record producer and you're my assistant. We're just laughing and shit, right? Well, anyway, I dap him up. He fucking moves on, and I can only assume that by his, upbeat laughter that he walked past me and he kind of like gave the nod to everyone else in the room, because after that, I was just dripping swag. Like, the janitor had to come out, mop that shit up, and it was on from there. So, you know, I'm standing there for a couple more minutes, and all of a sudden I see him talking to a couple of the female artists, and I'm like, holy shit, what if this guy is actually doing this? And I'm like, I got to come up with a cover story. And I'm like, all right, you know, I'm a producer from Top Dog Entertainment. You know, we're predominantly on the West Coast. We're looking to break into Chicago. I'm just here to scout some artists. And, you know, if they ask me for a business card or something, I'm like, we don't hand out our contact information. We'll get your contact information. I'm like, it's an easy story. And, you know, ultimately, I think it'd be fucking hilarious, because if I got a blower in the parking lot from the next Megan Thee Stallion, or I mean, even I guess a Lizzo would be fine. I think the story would be even funnier if it was the next Lizzo, but I'm like, that would just be fucking great. And, you know, he ends up walking away and nothing comes of it, but, you know, I was just like, oh man, that would be fucking perfect. But anyway, show's great, you know, no big deal. Nobody fucks with me or anything, whatever. And I'm on my way home, and, you know, at this time I'd kind of decompressed and gone back to like regular white guy, where I was like, golly, that was a gas. And, you know, I'm going down 59, and I'm doing probably 7 miles an hour over. And I thought I would be safe. You know, it's cold as hell outside. I was definitely wrong. I get pulled over in Bartlett, and the cop comes up to the window and, you know, asks me, you know, where I'm coming from, because I was going a little fast. And I could have said, hey, listen, I'm coming from a hip-hop show, and I'm going home to violently masturbate to the freshly filled spank bank of female rappers I have, and probably going to look for an old inhaler from high school so I can get a couple puffs of albuterol to just really prepare for this wailing I'm going to put on myself. But I decided to blurt out, I work at Tchotchkes as a bartender, and I'm on my way home. And Tchotchkes is the fictional bar in the movie Office Space that Jennifer Aniston works at, where you have to have so many pieces of flair. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, oh, are you guys pretty slow because of the weather? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that was an understatement. And, you know, he's like, all right, you know, I'll be right back. Let me check this stuff out. And he gets back, and he's like, cool, you're good. So take it easy on the way home. And I just could not believe he bought that. But anyway, interesting night. And if you weren't at the show, you missed a good one. And I know none of you were there because I didn't see you, but next time.